All right, what's going on everybody? Today I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a different kind of video slash review. So Pwnage was kind enough to send out their Ultra Custom Ambi mouse for review, as well as their control mouse pad. Now obviously this is a pretty old mouse, it's about 2 years old, so it's slightly outdated in terms of like the internals and the build and everything like that, but that doesn't mean that this review is not gonna serve any purpose. The reason I say that is because Pwnage sent this mouse out to a few other reviewers as well, so I think that they are trying to get feedback on it in terms of like what they can improve and what things that they should keep on the mouse for possibly a future rendition of it. I don't know if that's true, so don't quote me on that, but that's what I think just from the situation. So in this video, I'm just gonna go through the biggest pros and cons that I found on the mouse while using it, and then suggest different ways that the mouse could be potentially improved or things that could be kept on the mouse that I think are really good. And then throughout that, you'll be able to get an idea of how good the mouse is, sort of from like a review standpoint, and I'll also give it a rating. Full disclosure, although they did send this mouse out to me, obviously all these opinions are my own, and they didn't tell me to say anything good or bad about the mouse in particular, so all the opinions are my own. So first I'm gonna go over the pros of the mouse, and there were 3 main ones that I found, that being the coating, the shape, and then obviously the customizability of the mouse. So first, talking about the coating, honestly, I really expected the coating to be pretty bad because the shell is swappable. So I thought that because of that, they were gonna kind of overlook the coating on it and not make it super grippy, sort of make it really easy for them to make these shells in manufacturing and just push those out. But honestly, the coating is super duper good. I was incredibly impressed by it right when I took it out of the box. So the sides have a different coating than the outer plastic. The sides are much more rubberized and more grippy, which is really, really nice, but the plastic is still really grippy as well. It's not quite as grippy as some other mice, like the OP1 8K is, in my opinion, the best coating I've ever had. It's not really as grippy as that, but it's still really, really good. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this like a full con, but it does show a lot of fingerprints on the black version and a little bit on the sides as well. But I mean, that's kind of present in a lot of other mice as well, so not a huge deal. The next big pro of this mouse is the shape. I really do like it a lot, and if this mouse had like better internals and didn't have the cons that I'm gonna talk about later, then I honestly would probably use it a lot. But I am a fingertip user, and this has super duper flat sides and not a very high hump, so that really caters to my grip style. So while I was using it, I really, really liked the shape and kind of just wished that other parts of it were better so that I could use it more. The last big pro of it is obviously the customizability of it, the main marketing point of this mouse. You don't really see it in many other ones, so it's very, very cool that you can just easily swap out shells and things like that. So if Pwnage is gonna make another version of this mouse, keeping that customizability is a really, really cool thing. And I think that if they perfect it, it could be a huge, huge selling point and people will really, really gravitate toward it. Right here, I have some other shells. So real quick, I'm gonna open these up and then I will replace the shell that I have on it right now and just show how easy it is to do that replacement. All right, so I've opened up these shells, and the ones that I have here are the red matte and the gold metallic. So real quick, I'm gonna put on the gold front buttons and then the red back hump, and I'm kind of going for a little bit of like the Lightning McQueen look, so we'll see how that looks in a sec. So to replace the shell, you really just flip it up from the bottom. You can just stick your nail under it or whatever and just take it off. You take the back, and it has magnets on it, but first you just take those tabs and just like put it right there, and then it just snaps into place with the magnets, and there you go. And then if you want to take the front buttons off, you also have to take off the back, so I probably should have done that first, but whatever. And then you take that tab right there, and you push it forward, and then just take off the front buttons. You just take the clicks here, and you put those into these holes right here where the actual switches are, and then you push it so it lines up with that hole right there, and then you just snap it back into place, and there you go. So then I'll take the back cover and I'll go ahead and put that back on, and now we have the red and gold. It's looking real nice. And then if you want to replace the side buttons, they're just magnets as well, so you just reach in there with your nail or a tool or something and just pull them out. They just pop out super easily. All right, so here I have the side buttons, and then you can just pop them in super easily with the magnets that are there, and there you go. So there you go, that's how you customize the mouse. It's super easy, and I really do like that this mouse is so unique in that you can customize it like that. So I really do hope that if they do create another mouse of this shape, that they still have that customization aspect involved, as long as they can perfect it. An honorable mention for the pros is the adjustable sensor. I did try it all the way up and down and like sort of in the middle and stuff, and I didn't really notice it making too much of a difference. I do think it's a cool feature that they have that, and it makes it different from other mice, but I don't really think it makes enough of a difference for it to be like a huge selling point or anything like that. So whether or not they implement this in future mice, I mean, I don't really care that much. I honestly think that I could do without it, but still something to note. So moving on to the cons of the mouse, it's pretty much just everything on the inside. Like I said, this being a 2-year-old mouse, all the internals are pretty outdated, and it definitely shows in the performance of the mouse. Going over the specifics of the internals, it has a 3370 sensor in it, which is obviously outdated compared to the 3395. It has Kale 8.0 switches in it, which are fine, but I would prefer something like Huano Blue Shell Pink Dots or my favorite Omron Opticals. It obviously has a max polling rate of 1000 Hertz, which yes, some current gen mice do have a max polling rate of 1000 Hertz as well. But I still think that pretty much any new mouse that comes out nowadays should have at least up to 4K polling, and in some cases, more and more mice are getting 8K polling now. So really, I think having a max polling rate of just 1000 Hertz is kind of not really acceptable nowadays with mice. So that is definitely something that they could improve on. The weight of this mouse is also quite heavy compared to current gen mice. It is 71 grams at the lowest weight, so that's with all of the honeycomb shell on it. Now besides the internals, another con is the click implementation. It's not very good on this mouse, and I think that's mostly because of the customizability. Because you have different shells that you can put on the mouse, there's gonna be more deviation with the clicks, so there is like some wobble and stuff even before you press down, and then also while you press down as well. You can see right there, it kind of rattles around a little bit. So yeah, it seems like they sacrificed a little bit for the customizability, which I understand, but if they were to improve on this mouse in the future, I think that that's something that they could definitely look into. I also think that the middle mouse button is a little bit too hard to press. Could be a little bit easier to make it more spammable. But that's something that could easily be fixed with just like a different encoder or a different click there. So all in all, when thinking about a future rendition of this mouse, things that they could keep the same are the coding, the shape, and the customizability. Things that they could improve on are the internals, such as the sensor, the polling rate, the weight, and the clicks/click implementation. So keeping that all in mind, if they were to make a future rendition of this mouse and make those changes, I think it could be a really, really big hit. Since this is a review, I will give this mouse a rating. So if I were to compare it to other mice in today's market, I'd probably give it a 2.5 out of 5. Now, obviously you have to take that with a grain of salt because this is a 2-year-old mouse, so obviously it's not gonna blow you away. I'll still provide a link to this mouse in the description if you do wanna go take a look at it and potentially pick it up. But if I'm being honest, I really think you should just hold off and not purchase this mouse right now. Maybe wait for a future rendition if you're really looking forward to it, or buy one of Pwnage's other more updated products that they have on their site. So that's gonna do it for this video on the Pwnage Ultra Custom Ambi mouse. They did also send their control pad. I'm gonna do a written review of that pad over on my Twitter, which I have linked in the description. Go follow that. I post a lot of pictures of peripherals as well as my thoughts on other things that I don't do a full review on. Next up on the channel, I'll be doing my review of the Zowie U2. Shout out to Zowie for sending that out for review. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for future stuff.
Hey, we can fuck little mama, I can't lip lock.